Man, I used to struggle whenever I had clients come in the chair and their hairline turned out to be 80% bangs. Like, look at this. Like, how am I supposed to work with this? That was a huge struggle that I had in the beginning of my career. But my goal with this video is to help make it easy for you. But before we get into that, we're gonna have to tackle this mullet and the tapers. So the way that I started with the mullet here, guys, is essentially he didn't want any length gone. He just wanted some texturizing done, make it a little more wispy, make it more movable. So I'm picking up section by section. I'm making sure not to remove too much from any one section. That's why I'm combing it away and picking up the next little spot. But yeah, we're gonna go all the way through here, feathering out the tips of his mullet just to get it a little more movable, a little more texture and flair to it. So we're gonna do this and then we'll get into the tapers. Now his hair's not very long. My job today was to go in and correct the haircut that he tried giving himself. So I'm starting with the clipper all the way closed. That's pretty much my bald line. And then I'm gonna be setting my next guideline in with the half guard closed. So even though the hair is already short, I still like to have some guidelines that I can refer to while I'm cutting. Now, if you're more comfortable doing it with the trimmer for your bald line and no guard open, you can totally do that. The lengths are interchangeable. I just like to approach it this way because it is a softer line to finish. Nothing is gonna be easier to blend into clipper closed than clipper closed, if that makes sense. And this is all gonna come together at the end. So let's set these base guidelines in. And this being a high taper, we're gonna take it from the point where his ear starts right up to the corner where his curve or his C-cup would be happening. Now we need to start down fading now at this point, right? I'm gonna work my way from the top. Now you could use a bigger guard. You could start with like your 4, your 3, your 2. I also want to show you guys that you can use efficiencies like this. For example, you see how I'm kind of freehanding using a bigger guard like a 1.5 with the lever open, but I'm using the shape of his head like a ramp. I'm picking my clipper up and off the scalp as I feed through his hair. So keep that in mind. That's definitely something that helped me a lot with efficiency. But if you're not comfortable with this yet, it's totally cool. You could start with your number 4 guard, let the 4 catch all the hairs that it can. Then do the 3 guard, let the 3 catch all the hairs that it can. Working your way down from 4, 3, 2, 1.5. And since you're done with the 1.5 now, you can pretty much start fading down now, right? So what's the next thing lower than a 1.5 closed? It's a 1 guard with the lever open. And then start thinking ahead, what's lower than the 1 guard lever open? The 1 guard lever closed, here we go, right? So you can kind of see we're gonna continue stacking guards as we go all the way down. And again, if we're thinking ahead, what is lower than the 1 guard closed? The next step is gonna be, what do you think it is? The half guard, of course. And think about this, we set that fading guideline in with what? With the half guard closed. So by the time that we work our way down, right, if we're starting with the half guard open and slowly working our way closed as we get lower, it's gonna match perfectly to that fading guideline that we set in. How cool is that? So now at this point, the only thing you have left to do is blur out that very bottom, right? You've got the clipper closed and just little by little, notch by notch by notch. Now we can work our way up and check it out. At this point, it's all gonna blend real nice together. And that's why I fade the way that I do. Some people think it's unorthodox. Some people think it's confusing, it's unnecessary. Oh, there's too many steps. Bro, it's foolproof. It's so simple. And that's what works in my head, and I hope it translates for you too, man. Like, I need something simple and easy to follow. So of course now we faded down, so hey, it's trimmers and shavers. That's the only way that we can get any lower and tighter to really get it that nice bald effect. Now I'm gonna shut up now, and I want you to guess what the next steps are gonna be. We're starting here, right? Again, 1.5, lever open to closed. I'm gonna let the clip rock, and I want you guys to think ahead with me. What's gonna be the next step over and over and over? We're starting with 1.5 open. All right, let's watch this come together. So let me know, man, how did you guys do? Were you able to keep up with the fading system? Were you able to correctly guess what was gonna come next? Leave me some feedback down in the comment section below and let me know how it came together for you. So we're just finishing off here with the trimmer and with the shaver, but this next part of the haircut is the reason why you guys came here today, and it's how do I tackle a hairline when there is no hairline? Really, you'll see here, my client has only hair really growing strong in the middle, and that's his widow's peak. So what I decided to do is I'm like, all right, I'm gonna acknowledge what the strong point is, but I'm gonna bring down just the necessary hairs so that way I can create a nice sharp edge. And we actually are gonna be trimming the rest of the top too. That's a whole nother thing, is how do I trim the top without ruining the hairs in the front that he needs for the bangs. So I'm gonna section away the hair that needs to be cut, and I'm just gonna be working little by little. Now, typically I start my way in the middle, but the challenging part was, like with his hairline, it kind of already was in the right spot. I just needed to make sure that those corners were more squared off. You know, his hairline is very, very round, not really the hairline, but the bangs are very much so in a round shape, the way that they kind of curl a little bit with this hairstyle. So I actually started, in this case, very rarely, I started defining the corner. And I'm gonna follow that curve all the way around, get my two corners right, and make sure that they match with the middle. Typically, I don't do this. Typically, I always like to start in the middle and work my way out, but I knew the corner was gonna be a challenge, so that's why I started there, and I knocked it out first. I'm actually taking advantage of that mark that the clip left, so that way I could test and see how the number 6 guard would work on the top of his head. And I'm just able to kind of pick up and flow right there from that little ridge, that the clip. So you see that little partition right there? I'm able to slip my clipper right in there, completely avoiding the hairline and just making sure that everything flows well. The secret to lining up the back and getting a nice clean V, he actually had a lot of new growth that he wanted to preserve, that's why we're going so low with it, is just go little by little and don't go too aggressive at first. Line up one side, line up the other side, step back and see where you need to make adjustments. And then keep going back and forth and just get that thing right, man. Little by little, slowly but surely. And make sure that your trimmers aren't overset too. You know, I like to keep my trimmers in a place where I can line up kids, old folks, adults. Like, I want it to be a universal trimmer. My razor is what's gonna make my line really sharp. So, you know, these necklines can get marked up real easy. So yeah, man, we're just gonna keep on rocking through the rest of this cut. We're gonna finish shaving off the bottom of his neckline. We're gonna clean up the beard, add a little bit of enhancements in the beard. But yeah, if you stuck around to this point of the video, man, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for sticking around. I'm gonna continue. So far, this is what, my 4th video that I was able to drop back to back daily videos. So continue to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on your notifications so you're the first one to see when my video drops. Now, if you guys like my teaching style, and if you want to go a much more in-depth version of this, where you have a little more one-on-one attention, maybe even critique sessions where we can coach you, us as a Tomb45 team can coach you on your individual haircuts and give you guys some feedback, let us know. Let me know in the comment section down below. We're going to be rolling out with our Tomb45 Academy soon, where we can give you guys much more personalized one-on-one coaching attention for the haircuts. If you guys are good with the haircuts and you're just trying to figure out how to make a better living off of the haircuts, I remember the worst thing for me in the beginning of my career was I'm like, I don't want to leave the corporate world because I want to have my life insurance, my health insurance, my, all those little things. But now I have all those because of the mentorship program. It helped me a bunch. So you can join our community in the description below, and I'll be one of your coaches in the program. So I hope to see you guys soon there. Like I said, like, share, subscribe, and send this to somebody that you think can benefit from the gems we dropped today. I'll see you in the next video, guys.